Ladies and gentlemen, it is in fact your boy Steve from One Bold Dude, and today we're going to talk about the frequent sightings of drones in New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. Right, the lion, the witch, and the audacity of these drones to fly over restricted Air Force bases and other civilian facilities. Right, so there's three plausible theories that are going around, and I'm gonna try to work through all of them, see what's going on, and be able to inform you as much as I can, right? So the first one, and probably the least plausible, is aliens, right? Now, there is a very, very slim chance that aliens would have sent those drones to scout military bases when they have drones that, ships that can fly through space, possibly. And they're very intrigued into the unmanned drone vehicles that we have that still use dinosaurs to propel through the sky, right? So the second and probably one of the most plausible theories, you did have John Ferguson, who is the Saxon Aerospace CEO, right? And again, coming from a CEO from a company that's also worried and concerned, I'd like to tend to believe this actual opinion, right? So what John Saxon said, realistically, was that these drones, the way they fly in a specific net pattern, and they have the 8-foot wingspan, and then they have these antennas on the top, basically like horns, which are for very low frequencies to communicate in between each other, right? And this communication is in case there is a jammer available or anything like that. And all of these suggest towards any form of nuclear or dirty bomb explosion or any attack on the U.S. soil, right? So basically what he said and what he believes and what I tend to believe, like I said, is that most likely these drones are doing an exercise to scout for radioactive material. Now, you have seen a post on Twitter. In case you haven't, I'll probably put it up here somewhere on the screen. And what this post basically said is that there has been an increase in radioactive gamma rays and whatnot in the New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania area, where these drones coincidentally were flying by. Now, again, this is going to interlock with the third theory, so there might be more to it, right? But hear me out. So, basically, like I said, going back to the John Ferguson with the Saxon Aerospace CEO, right? He stated that these drones are basically doing an exercise, which is the reason why the FBI, the DOD, and just about every other intelligence agency is just, no, we don't know what's going on yet. We're investigating, and nothing happens, right? Considering that, like, what was it? A year ago, we shot down 2 balloons. Actually, we shot down 1 balloon. We dispatched F-16s to go shoot down these balloons who were just doing geological recon from China, apparently. I find it very hard to believe that we wouldn't send something to take these drones out. Would it not be an ally conducting experiments or our own country conducting experiments, right? So what John Ferguson said is that with these drones flying at night, they likely don't see shit, right? So what's going on? The reason why they're flying at night is because they're equipped with a specific camera and sensor, which would then in turn be able to identify any radioactive material, pattern, so on and so forth, right? Which, in case you haven't seen, is pretty plausible because we have seen a spike in radioactive numbers. I'll put that on the screen. I'll link it up just in case you are interested. All right. So long story short, we have seen a very minor spike from the regular gamma rays and radiation now you usually get from the towers, the cell phone towers, the sun, so on and so forth. So a reason behind that, and like I said, John Ferguson's opinion and my opinion is that they're flying around and they're doing this exercise in case we ever have a reaction to deal with. Like, the tensions are pretty high in Russia. Russia's allied with China. China's allied with North Korea. They're all allied. They all have nuclear capabilities now. And, Rocket Man might just, rub one out. So it's very plausible that these drones are out there to run this exercise and see what's going on. So basically the way they fly is they fly in a net pattern, and they smell the earth, per se, is what he said, which makes sense. The second and likely other plausible opinion is that there was an Iranian drone ship that has left about a month ago the port of Iran, and it hasn't been seen until recently on the east coast of the United States, which is New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and New York. And Yeah, it's believed that these drones, since they were seen coming in and out of the water, are also coming from the Iranian ship. So what's going on with that? Well, long story short, Department of Defense and everyone else is claiming that this is not a foreign attack, which, as much as I'd like to believe the government, maybe it's not a foreign attack. But if any of you know a little bit of history and think about back to USS Liberty, which is a ship that, long story short, was going by Israel, and then some boats pulled up and they were like, oh, let's take pictures, right? Like, your ship is so cool. And they took pictures and whatnot. And then like an hour later, they returned, this time with attack boats and guns. And they were like, oh, we want to take pictures too. And proceeded to murder just about everybody that was on board, right? So I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. In case it is Iran, I find it very hard to believe, like I said, that we're not shooting them down or even starting a conflict, right? Maybe it's trying to be a diplomatic conflict. Again, I find it very suspicious that it's flying around New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, with Donald Trump also just recently holding a speech in New Jersey by an Air Force base where these drones primarily fly around, right? So I got a little bit off track there, right? But with these, with that ship being from Iran, and the recent theory is, oh, well, the ships were just recently spotted 1,000 miles away. It couldn't have been them. They don't have the technology. So just in case you forgot, we send drones all the time over there to conduct unmanned strikes, right? So the technology's out there. We steal everyone else's technology. We pay for development of everyone else's technology, as then they come back with drones or hot air balloons, scan our military bases and steal it from us, right? So, like I said, those are the three theories. Aliens, John Ferguson's nuclear testing of those drones to scout the land in case there ever is an escalation of conflict and we do get hit by a dirty bomb. It's just to see the public's response. So realistically, if you put fear in the public and the public's just begging for help to the government, you know that they won't take matters in their own hands. And therefore, you know that if that attack ever happens, the government would have to take full control of the situation and try to evacuate everyone, or just let everyone die for population control. Right now, I'm not a big fan of the government necessarily, but that is always a possibility, right? And the third theory, like I said, is ultimately Iran's attack on the soil, and now with the change in presidency or potential assassination, who knows, right? They're just working things out to understand what's going on. So I hope this was educational and this gave you a little bit of interest in what's going on in New York, New Jersey, Pennsylvania with all these drones. And again, the most likely theory is that the U.S. got its hands on new toys and they're like, let's try them out at the cost of the public. It's been a pleasure. Have a good one.